Hello there, my name is Adrian Hussein, and I'm happy to share my DIY cabinet painting experience for my parents' kitchen and bathroom oak cabinets. I hope you enjoy.
I spent 3 days to complete the prep, primer, and 2 top coats. Luckily, I had a trusty helper during the last 1.5 days. Huge thanks to my partner for helping me out here. Without that help, I probably would have had sleepless Sunday and Monday nights. If you're thinking about doing this project on your own or hiring it out, I think it's a good idea for you to plan for at least 3 back-to-back days where the kitchen won't be in heavy use or have heavy traffic. This is just for drying and curing purposes. After this 3-day process, we let the cabinets cure for about 6 days before rehanging them, and then made sure to place felt pads on them to prevent contact between the cabinet doors and faces, as the cabinets were still curing and they could stick. If you'd like to see a detailed breakout of how I spent my time here for this job, please see the link in the description for a free Google Sheet. Here's a nice little recommendation by @DIY Painting Ryan. This nice cabinet door holder. It was made by a couple of 2x4s. Link in the description for the specific lengths and cuts that I got to make that. But yeah, saves $500 when compared to buying a professional one. Um, just drill a couple holes in the 2x4s, 4 inches apart. Buy some wood dowels, stick them through, and you got a nice place to rest cabinet door. Here I'm taking the cabinet doors down, making sure to tape and label them, or label and tape them, to make sure that I can remember where they were taken from. For example, the upper one, they did U1 and U1A on the top and U1B on the bottom, for A being the top hinge spot and B being the bottom hinge spot. The lower ones, I did B1 and B2. You can see B2 being assembled there, or disassembled. That one had a strip screw, so I left it there. And came back to get that later after unstripping that screw. Oh, what a nightmare. Here's B7 and B8 being unscrewed now. This one has a drawer that I had some trouble taking off the drawer face of. There was some wood glue there, so I was at it for a while and finally knocked it off with a little knife to help me get it off there. And you can see some gunk that eventually was sanded off that drawer. Here I'm labeling this one. That one was M3 or M4, M for middle, in my little number convention. Here's the main bathroom. Unscrewing some cabinet doors there. Here we can see the usefulness of that cabinet door holder. Cleaning these before they are hit with primer. I didn't get the back sides when I was going through and cleaning them the first time. So making sure to do a good job here. Apparently it's all in the prep. Here I'm taking my orbital sander with 40 grit sandpaper and just sanding away some of the imperfections, or in this case wood glue, or whatever stains I couldn't get cleaned off, making sure to really scuff up these shiny surfaces so that way they are ready to receive primer and then later on paint. So the back sides as well, so making sure to hit the corners and edges with my orbital sander, and then once that's all done, wipe away all the dust here. And I'm using oh, well, here I'm zooming into a little dirt spot I wasn't able to get off with cleaning, so definitely gonna sand that away. That's gone. Use a sponge to get through the 90-degree angles in the corners, which you can't get to with the orbital sander, so you gotta apply a little elbow grease here. Make sure you scuff up everything you can. And wipe away all that dust, of course. All right, here's my shameless attempt at a sponsor opportunity for the Graco Truecoat 360 paint sprayer for the economical DIYer. Here I'm testing out my primer spray, or the primer in the sprayer, and I'm showing exactly how not to spray. I learned the hard way here after the primer dried, after I laid this heavy coat of primer spray super close with my airless sprayer. Airless sprayers are powerful even on the low setting, so these really should be sprayed about a yard away from the lat cabinet door. In hindsight, I realized this only before applying the second top coat, but since I was eager and excited to spray with the sprayer, I sprayed close and I sprayed heavy for the primer and top coats, and that led to a long dry time. Here you can see I tested out the paint. It's definitely not dry, or the primer. Flipped it over after an hour, and I sprayed the other side because that's what fit my timing, my project timing here. Gave it a nice thick coat. Didn't check the edges for drips, which I should have brushed off. But yeah, very rookie move here. I do not recommend to do this. I recommend light coats and only spray the corners when you do the top of the doors. Here you can see drips that I forgot, didn't even think about. Could have brushed them off here and saved about 2 hours of sanding. Here we're using masking paper to cover up some of the drinkware in the cabinets. Just decided to cover up anything that might be painful to clean up. This is where I realized the time-lapse setting on the phone recordings was probably the best. We're covering the floors here with some red, thick rosin paper. It's pretty wide as well, so very useful for covering up large spaces, just in case there's any spillage with the paintbrush or the roller tray that we're using. There will be another link in my bio for a list of all the products I purchased with different prices. Well, I had some materials, but if I had to buy everything new again, I think it would be about $940 for all the materials used. And that's to secure or give ourselves the best chance of getting that factory finish on the cabinet doors by using a sprayer, and then using the best quality paint that apparently a lot of people rave about, the Benjamin Moore Advance, and of course brushing and rolling and all the other small equipment that comes with that. We also ended up buying cabinet pulls and soft close hinges, but saved a lot of money by buying those on Temu. Don't hate me too much for that. I ended up thinning primer about 20% with water, purified water, and then the Benjamin Moore Advance with about 10% water. I know I talked about how I was spraying a little bit too excited with the primer. I did upgrade the process, and I'm showing kind of a top coat. That's a touch-up here, but my phone died during the end of day 2, so don't have many clips there. Sanding primer drips before proceeding with top coating was not ideal, but necessary. Next, this was a good time to caulk some of the spaces in between the cabinet frame and the flat part of the cabinet. So here you can see just applying some caulking there. And then after the base coat of primer was done in the base cabinets, we went ahead and did the same thing with caulking, just putting caulking whenever there was small little areas in between the wood where the wood connected. And after we did the caulking, sanded, and here we are doing the first top coat. This is a very satisfying process of me cutting the corners here and my partner filling in the big space with the roller. Special thanks to at DIY Painting, at Paint Life TV, at Home Renovision, at Salvaged by K Scott, and the Reddit community for the great work that they put out, which helped me build the confidence to do this job. Final thanks to Kelly Gillespie from the Benjamin store near me. If you see this, that last second advice about process steps really helped me, so thank you. Spraying the backs of doors with a light coat and letting them dry for an hour before flipping was a huge process improvement for what I had not previously thought about before going into this. After the second top coat, we finally have a nice factory glass finish on the cabinet doors. We had to resist the urge to hang these immediately and let them cure for about 6 days. It's recommended 30 days on the Benjamin Moore Advanced label, but 6 days seemed like plenty. It's a lot more work than expected to hang the cabinet, so it's a fun way to spend Sunday with my family to hang these doors. Luckily, we had the tools ready to put the holes in for the new hardware. My dad was screwing in the replacement, the soft close hinges. My brother was putting in holes, and my mom was screwing in the new cabinet pull hardware. So we had a nice system going here. We are tightening some faces to the doors. There's some hole screwing there for a cabinet pull. And of course, some touch-ups were needed. This cabinet door needed repair, so get some last second love there. And there needed to be some sanding done. So sanded that off to sand some drips away that dried and gave them a little bit of touch-ups. They needed 2 or 3 coats to make sure they looked back to normal. Here's after that first coat.